Welcome to No Hits Radio, where we dive deep into the uncharted waters of technology.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Express Show on No Hits Radio. My name is Cynthia Kemuma and you're tuned into the Tech Talk segment and where we dive into the latest insights in technology and trends. Joining me for this conversation today on the future of cloud in Africa is Peterz Robin, the Business Development Manager at Servercore. Good morning, Peterz.
Good morning.
How's your morning coming along?
My morning is well. I'm super excited to be here to discuss, of course, the future of cloud adoption in Africa. It's a fun, pleasing pleasure to be here.
We have stayed quite a long time with no rain in Nairobi. How's the weather taking you today?
Well, that's a good point. It's a good thing because rain in Africa, of course, signifies blessings and the like. So we're getting the hang of it, and we welcome the rains. I'm super excited. I'm glad that it's raining, actually.
So we can actually say that today is a blessed day.
Today is a blessed day, actually.
Okay, let's start with the basics.
Mhm.
If someone is hearing the term cloud for the first time
Yeah.
and you are asked to describe to them what cloud is,
Yeah.
what is cloud?
So cloud, I'll basically try and explain it in a layman's language. Cloud is in when you have a physical computer, okay? Instead of having it in your office, you have that computer somewhere stored in the cloud. Now, the cloud itself is not actually the actual physical cloud. It's just that the computing resources, it can be the basics as a server, a dedicated server, the networking system or databases, okay, that is stored somewhere in a data center that allows people to use them on a regular basis. So the key phrases here is that computer that you have, it's like a normal desktop or a normal iPhone or iPad, but this time it's in a data center where you get to access it over the internet and you use it very easily.
Let's use examples.
An example of a compute system is, for example, let's say how you store your images on Google Cloud. Okay, what they're actually giving you is the storage, as I had mentioned earlier. When it comes to compute, the storage, the databases, and just the virtual machines itself. So a classic example is how you store your images or your songs in iCloud or the images itself on a Google platform.
Do you think people actually know that they use cloud while storing their images?
Not really. That's a good one. Not really, but of course, with the age of technology and now not that with the internet coming along, a lot of people now are coming to discover that. Yeah, I'm actually storing my data, and that's a simple means of just going cloud in itself.
Let's look at the cloud landscape in Africa. How does it look like?
Well, the cloud landscape in Africa is good. Africa itself is adapting to cloud in a very rapid way. Okay, according to industry reports, there is a significant growth of almost 20% of cloud adoption, and this is coming because of government initiatives and government policies. We have the digital transformation and the fintech coming into play, with, of course, also the medical and the healthcare systems coming into play when it comes to cloud adoption. Now, at the forefront of cloud adoption in Africa, countries like South Africa and Nigeria, and of course Kenya being included, are really spearheading to, of course, enabling the clients to adapt to cloud very easily, and of course just expanding it towards other regions in Africa.
You've mentioned 20% adoption rate of cloud.
Yeah.
And last week we had the ICT director for Nyandarua County, and we were talking about Industry 5.0, if the government has at any point adopted Industry 5.0. And he was talking about some people in the government are at 3.0. And right now you're telling us that people like the government, they are helping out in cloud.
Yes.
How how is their help? Is it big,
Well,
or they are still struggling to adopt cloud?
okay. Now, the 20% that I was giving is Africa in general. Okay. Now, of course, Kenya has a role itself in the cloud adoption. Now, to answer your question on how the government, of course, is enabling cloud adoption with, of course, the government, maybe offices using only 3%, according to maybe the report that you have. It's how the government is, sorry, how the government is helping that it's, coming with compliances. Okay, and this is something I believe we'll discuss further. The compliances and regulatory policies. They're talking about having data sovereignty in Kenya, and just making sure that sensitive data, like government data, hospitals kind of data, even the banking sector, that this kind of data does not go outside the country, but is controlled or withheld within the government or the country's borders. Yeah. So when it comes to the initiatives that the government is taking, is having strict policies into making sure that there is data sovereignty and data resides in the country.
So the policies and regulations that the government are putting in place are helping out in the adoption of cloud.
Yes, very true.
Okay, that's amazing. And one of the selling points of cloud is its cost saving.
Yeah.
How does cloud technology reduce operation expenses for businesses, particularly the small to medium enterprises?
Okay. So unlike normal IT infrastructures, and if I may borrow again from the government policies that are using 3%, you find that most of them have on-prem servers or on-prem computing services, as I'd mentioned earlier. Now,
Maybe just before you go further, let's talk about the on-prem services. What is it all about?
So on-prem servers, basically, it's having now your IT resources with you, and it's kind of it's not cost effective. It's actually very expensive. And how is it expensive? The IT infrastructure itself is very expensive. You have to consider things like an uninterrupted power supply. Okay, you have to consider things like the cooling system, and having IT specialists work on the on-prem servers. Okay, it's not that it's bad; it's just that it's a bit it's a bit costly when it comes to setting up an infrastructure for the SMEs. Now, how is cloud enabling SMEs try and maneuver when it comes to cost? Cloud gives you the availability or the means of scaling up and down, unlike the on-prem servers, whereby when you have this dedicated server, when you have this compute system, you can scale it up or down. When you want to, of course, when you want to scale, that's more expensive. Okay. Now, number one, I said it's scalability for the cloud, and number two, there is a pay-as-you-go module. Okay, so where you only use the resources that you want to use at that particular time. I consider it like a shopping mart where you go, pick your server, do whatever you want to do with it, store your data up to a particular time or period. And once you're done, you can easily close up that server and do any other thing that you'll want to do. So cloud for the SMEs offers scalability, affordability, the pay-as-you-go module, and of course, having us as maybe the IT infrastructure guys working with you hand in hand, so that you don't have to pay your in-house IT people. I'm not saying that they won't be paid or something.
You're losing me. So we have the in-house people,
which is it's good. It's very expensive, but for SMEs, when it comes to that, they reduce it. Okay, whereby us, for example, at Servercore, we take care of the resources. Okay, where we talk about the interrupted power supply, as I was talking about, of course the cooling systems, and of course now the on-prem infrastructure of that compute instance that an SME can want.
So should we stop our IT guys from doing their jobs and try and have you guys do their jobs?
Not really. Actually, that's a good question. You see, when it comes to cloud, it gives the IT people less time to work on the IT infrastructure, which is much easier compared to having an on-prem. Because when you have an on-prem, you not only need the technical expertise, but also security, which is an issue. In case of we were just talking about weather. In case of a flooding, the entire infrastructure will be wiped out on something. But if you have that on the cloud, it's easy for your IT guys to easily access it and manage it when it's on the cloud, vis-a-vis having it on the prem. So to answer your question about how SMEs can save up their money on the cloud, of course, we offer flexibility, affordability, scalability, and many other things that guys can get on Servercore's
Now I want us to go step by step.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a business.
Uh-huh.
I'm going out here to look for a company that offers maybe cloud services.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the things that I need to be looking for?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, for starters, the most important thing is I, as a person, I need to understand what is your business module. Okay, what do you need the infrastructure for? Once I have that, it's easy for me to walk with you step by step into making sure that you have the right compute resources based on your need. That's number one. Number two, of course, a key ingredient is to making sure that the compliance, as I'd said earlier, I don't know what your business module is, but if I understand it much better, I need to make sure that, the compliances, regulatory act and everything is in accordance to what I'm trying to help you achieve on our infrastructure. Number three, things like cost effectiveness. For you as an individual, what is your budget? How much are you looking to spend in a week, a month, or in a year? Okay. And many other things like latencies, things that, of course, improve your services, as a business person, vis-a-vis having maybe the on-prem infrastructure, on how, of course, cloud can help you as a business, your business scale up.
So by you understanding what business I do, does that mean that you have different services for different businesses?
Yes. There are clients who have let me mention some of the services that we have at Servercore. You might find that a client just needs storage. Okay, or they just need some databases at Servercore. Some clients you might find they just need a virtual machine, the compute that I was talking about. Other clients, of course, maybe they need managed Kubernetes, things just to help, of course, the clients, the process workflows for these individuals. So we have very many resources for different clients. As I said, dedicated servers, virtual machines, managed Kubernetes, databases, even S3 buckets,
What is S3 bucket?
It's just a large storage, for example, for your large images or large volume of data, okay, that you need to store on a cloud provider like Servercore, okay? So those are some of the many resources that we offer when it comes to cloud and what a client might need on our infrastructure. Another key ingredient also, another key thing we also offer is a hybrid solution. Now, a hybrid solution is whereby we have clients who have on-prem solution, okay? And because of data sensitivity, they don't want to push everything to the cloud, okay? How Servercore comes into play is we understand the IT infrastructure on the on-prem. We can, of course, we won't tamper with that data. We just try to connect some of their workflows on the cloud. This can be their learning and development or research and development, okay? And marry the cloud and the on-prem solution to have a smooth business transaction whereby they don't have to overload their on-prem solutions.
You mentioned of companies that maybe want to adopt cloud and they don't want to give you everything of their work.
Yeah.
Let's talk about security measures that are taken in place when companies are adopting cloud. Do you look into that, and how secure is if I decide to give you my company's work, how secure is my work?
For starters, let me say security starts with an individual, okay? And no one is too safe, Okay, you can be hit with malicious attack even from internal individuals who work in certain organizations. Now, how Servercore is, of course, helping businesses maybe like yours or any other provider out there that might need maybe a surety of security, is that when it comes to cloud, maybe from Servercore, we offer it in a 5-tier kind of way, five-tier kind of program. The
What
first
is
5-tier, like levels.
Okay.
Like levels, yeah. So the first two are the very basic, whereby we have our data centers there, and the people that work with that data, of course, are well trained, and of course they make sure that everything is working in accordance to the agreement that we have with them. Number 3 is we offer something called DDoS protection. That's a distributed denial of service. This is something that, of course, clients can get attacked easily. Another level, of course, is just having your data encrypted, data in transit and data at rest. Other areas, of course, is things like MFA, multi-factor authentication, and identity access management on our infrastructure, just making sure that the person that is accessing the data is the right person who has requested for the data access. So it's a multi-leveled, okay? And of course, you can also add other, threat detection or any other security tool on the cloud to, of course, try to tighten the security and make it more safer. So it's much easier for you to have a secure a cloud on Servercore's infrastructure than on-prem. On-prem, of course, you have to be there 24/7, just making sure that everything is running. But on the cloud, of course, we take care of some level of security. And of course, you also, as an individual, have to be responsible of what you're handling on the infrastructure. Not just being given an infrastructure and you're like, you know what, this is secure. No, you have to do a due diligence and a thorough viewing and reviewing and auditing of your system and infrastructure.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how secure is our data stored in cloud
On a scale of 1 to 10,
currently?
Currently,
And don't lie to us.
Honestly, I'll give it a 10. The reason why I'll give it a 10 is because, of course, it also depends on the kind of data that you're trying to push to the cloud. Okay. And with those features that I've talked about, it just ensures that our client's data is safe, and the person who's hosting that data on our cloud environment doesn't feel like it's not protected or anything, because key important ingredients as well is finding a cloud partner or a cloud provider that is compliant both internationally and locally, regulation policies. Like for us, making sure that, of course, a cloud provider is GDPR, that's a Global Data Protection Regulator, and the PCI DSS and the DPA Act, just making sure that, of course, we meet the compliances on the local perspective and also on the global perspective. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you're 10.
You give it a 10.
It's a clean, beautiful 10.
And you've justified your 10.
Yes, I've justified my 10.
So for organizations new to cloud, what practical steps should they take to implement security as a service effectively?
Okay. For organizations new to cloud, some of the steps that they need to take or to check is having, let's say, managed security services, like security as a service. Okay. For people, of course, who want to push their data and making sure that everything is safe. Some of the steps, of course, that I'd mentioned, work with a provider that, I'll keep on insisting, that is compliant, both globally and locally. Number 2, of course, a client that is a provider that is near to you, because where there are instances of security threat or data breaches, breaches, you need someone that you can call 24 by 7. And Servercore, of course, offers that platform whereby in case there's an incident of security or anything, you can create a ticket and we'll be able to respond to you in less than 15 minutes, or just basically pick up your phone the way you call me and we can talk about what's happening on your cloud infrastructure. And just having that someone that you can talk to here locally is also, gives that client a sensibility that I'm in safe hands, and I know someone. I feel like I know someone who knows what they are doing. Okay. Number two, of course, just making sure your data is just making sure that you know that your data is encrypted, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, the identity access management, and of course, the multi-factor authentications. Working hand in hand with our client into making sure that everything is secure. Yeah.
What's one misconception that people have about cloud?
One misconception that people have about cloud. Honestly, I don't know, because I think I've been in the cloud so much.
Have you not interacted with a
Yeah,
client before and they
yeah.
were like,
No, that's the thing. One misconception I think that people have is that their data is not secure. Okay. And they can just store data anywhere and everywhere, which is not the case. You really have to be keen and concerned on which provider you're using to work with you into ensuring you have your business operates smoothly. And of course, things like data sovereignty and many other things that, of course, someone has to consider, and not just believing that once it's on the cloud, it's safe.
okay.
Yeah.
We are taking a short, quick break. When we come back, we'll be having more insightful conversation on the future of cloud. Remember, we still have our guest with us in studio, Robin Peterz, the Business Development Manager at Servercore. Welcome back to the Morning Express Show. We still have our guest with us in studio, Robin Peterz, the Business Development Manager at Servercore. And earlier on, I asked him a question on a misconception about cloud that people have, and he talked about data, say how secure your data is. So you shouldn't be afraid to store your data in cloud. Let's continue the conversation, Robin. What regulatory developments should companies in Africa be aware of?
Now, in Africa, when it comes to regulatory compliances, I'll touch on maybe a few countries that I know that are very strict in regulatory compliances. Of course, let's start with Kenya. We have the DPA Act of 2019, which clearly states that you need to have your data, of course, processed or having it locally here. And of course, if you're not having it like physically here, for the companies that have, of course, on-prem solutions, when they need to have a backup solution that is here. Okay, so in when it comes to Africa and the countries that I'd mentioned earlier, like South Africa, their organization, of course, when it comes to the compliances, is I think it's POPIA. Nigeria is NDPR. These are countries that are very strict to data sovereignty and just making sure that sensitive data, not just data, sensitive data does not go outside the borders.
How many years have you worked in cloud?
Well, 5 going 6, and it's been a beautiful journey. I just want to continue in the cloud environment until I give it up.
I want to take you back in Kenya. In the 6 years you've worked in the cloud industry, is there a regulation or policy that has been put in place that you feel like it affects the work that is supposed to be done while providing cloud to clients, customers?
If there is, maybe not to my knowledge, but these rules and regulations, they keep on changing. And the reason that they keep on changing is they're looking for a more adaptive situation or solutions that will favor all other brands that are hosting clients' data in the cloud. So I don't know. I haven't had any in my knowledge. unless from the ones that are actually there, according to the DPA Act of 2019. So I'm pretty sure if there's anything outside those confinements, these are ones that maybe they might change. And of course, when they change, it's due to need basis or just them looking at the future and how the future of the cloud will be.
Is there a policy that you would want to be added?
Well, maybe a strict guidelines on having data stored here in Kenya. This is just a push to all maybe international providers to come and set up their data centers, or basically collocating their hardware systems here in Kenya. We have amazing tier 3 kind of data centers that allow clients to host their infrastructure. So if there's one policy that I will really, really want to be implemented, is for the strict adherence into making sure that data is stored locally here in our country.
Why is data not stored locally?
Now, it depends, as I said earlier, it depends on the kind of the business module that a client wants. Okay, some clients they don't need, they are not hell bent on having their data stored here, and maybe their business model does not support data being here. So clients have the option of storing it outside any other cloud provider. So it's not a cast in stone, like you really have to have it here. But of course, for sensitive clients like maybe the banking sector, the healthcare sector, and of course the government, which those are very sensitive data, it's paramount that they have it here. Okay, and having your data here, you can have sensitive data here and still push the extra workloads or whatever you want to push to the cloud. You can host it somewhere else. So it's not a custom stone.
Okay, without focusing on the module of a business, let's assume I am a business and I now want to adopt cloud into my business.
Mhm.
What are some of the factors that I should look at?
Okay. So I know we've talked about the compliances. I won't touch on that. When it comes to what are some of the steps or choices that you make when it comes to choosing the right cloud provider? I'll also talk on scalability. Okay, because we want businesses not to be rigid on whatever maybe the resources they're taking. We want them to have the flexibility of scaling up, or if it's too much, they can easily scale down. Okay. Another thing they, of course, need to consider is choosing a right partner that will work with you in every step of the way. When it comes to system integration and just giving you process how your data will be migrated from point A to point B is another key thing, when it comes to choosing a cloud provider, because you find that once you have chosen this cloud provider, that's just it. But you need someone, of course, who will work with you and offer you the technical expertise of what you need at what specific budget. Now, when it comes, another thing to consider when it comes to choosing a cloud provider, I've just mentioned it's budget. Look for something that is cost effective, for your organization. Something that, of course, enables you maybe to pay in KSH, a platform that, of course, might be M-Pesa integrated, just enabling an easy, cost-effective cloud provider that understands the economic, of course, that we have, of course, in a country, and just something that you are able to accommodate with your budget. So,
Who's to tell me that this is the right cloud provider?
well, I'm sitting here. You're looking at him. So yeah, I believe I'm the right person to tell you. Having experience, 6 years experience, I believe I can easily direct you and point you out to this is a good cloud provider. And of course, at the end of the day, it's still your decision to make.
I have interacted with people before and they wanted to adopt to cloud. And they were talking about how cloud is very, very, very expensive.
Mhm.
And on that note, I still had someone who's working in the cloud industry, and I asked them the same question: why is cloud very expensive in Kenya?
Uh-huh.
And their response to me was that, when you're investing in cloud, it's better to start off with paying a high amount as compared to starting with paying off less amount, because in the long run, it's very expensive. What's your take on that?
Well, cloud is not expensive. And to answer that, as I'd mentioned earlier, you need to choose someone who knows what they do. At, of course, comes with technical expertise and understands your business needs. Okay, and how your pocket friendliness, or how much you're willing to pay. So to answer that question, cloud is not expensive. You might find that if you're not keen on the provider that you're taking, there might be hidden costs that you're not aware of. But choosing a cloud provider that offers you the full 360 view of what you are using, how much you're using at that particular time, is also key. And of course, we have organizations that are there, good cloud providers that are able to, what amount of money you're using at that particular period. And of course, the other also, of course, others will offer you a proof of concept. Basically, this is just a testing period for you to test everything. And it's through that testing period you get to see how much you'll be saving or how much you'll be spending before now you actually now start using the resources. So having a cloud provider that understands you, having a cloud provider that enables you to see the full scale of how much you're paying and no hidden costs are very key when it comes to cost savings and choosing the right provider.
What's the duration for the trial?
It depends with different cloud providers. Okay. For the one that I'm working with, we're giving you a testing period of a month. Okay. And as I said, we are not rigid. If of course you need more time, it's something that of course we can actually talk and see how best you need for you to push your resources to the cloud environment.
So when you give someone this trial, does it incorporate all the services that one requires?
Yes. Now, the beauty about trial period is you get to use each and every resources. You're not paying for anything. You get to try out, test everything at your convenient time. Okay. Once you know what you want, and during this process of testing, we also help you in understanding what you might need for that trial period or for that testing period. So it is during that time you get to use each and every resources, for us, like where you can test your VMs, your databases, your backups, test everything, so that once you're ready, you've seen our latencies, you've seen our services, the uptime, and everything is working well. Now you yourself, you have the ability to see how much I've spent. Now at the end of the day, it just trickles down to you to what kind of services you want to use and what kind of services you want to pay for.
I have already checked all the cloud providers. I have identified one cloud provider that I want, and I now want to integrate it to my business. How should one integrate cloud elements smoothly into their businesses?
When it comes to implementation and integrating the business processes, of course, we have technical experts as well who help you integrate your businesses to the cloud. So for us, of course, just enabling or allowing our clients to, allow us to access their data or their business processes, okay, and move with them in every phase. Now we migrate them in phases or integrate it in phases where we get a step one, they test. If it's successful, we move to step two, step three, step four, up until where the client now is okay and happy with the integration and the services that we offer.
So as you're integrating them into steps, maybe you provide one with the first step.
Yeah.
Then you give them like a trial.
Yes.
When they go to maybe the second step, do you also give them like a trial?
Yeah, for sure. That's why there's that free testing period where a client gets to test as we work with them. It's still free for them to continual process of testing, and now it's called going live, or now actually using the resources on the infrastructure.
I'm having a worry about this trial period. Now, what happens if you found a client and you've given them a trial period and they're not satisfied with it, and they maybe decide to stop working with you guys?
Well, it's of course it's sad, but still the client has all the reasons, or to decide why not to choose a cloud provider. We are not hell bent on making a client, of course, just choose us. Just as you have a wardrobe, you decided to dress on a particular way. So we give the client that flexibility of, if resources meet what were the expectations that you want, it's easy to work with us. If not, of course, we still love you. And if you want to come back, we'll be more than glad to have you back on our infrastructure.
Okay. Many African businesses rely on the legacy systems. How can they integrate cloud solutions without existing workflows?
Awesome. So for the legacy applications, I know they can be quite hectic and at times very expensive. Um, one of the ways on how they can integrate this on the cloud platform is through the hybrid integration, the one that I was talking about. When the client has a legacy system or a legacy application, maybe just a legacy system, and they want to slowly migrate to the cloud. Okay, hey, cloud. They want to slowly migrate to the cloud. Now, we offer that hybrid solution for such individuals, whereby they still retain or maintain their old legacy system or on-prem solutions, while they slowly move some of their databases or workflows slowly into the cloud.
There's some people who are tuning in and they're still asking about the on-prem. What does it mean? And maybe, as you're explaining to us, differentiate it with cloud so that they can understand what it is.
Okay. So on-prem solution is basically having the compute resources. These are maybe the dedicated servers or the servers itself with you. Let's say maybe your actual office or your business premises, and of course you have your IT or your tech experts working on them. Now, these resources, you have them on your office. That's the basic definition of what an on-prem solution. It's also good because you get to see what is happening real time on your infrastructure. Now, cloud is whereby it's more of like a hiring, of these resources. Now, the beauty about it is you don't have to worry about uninterrupted power supply, security, or any other thing. We offer you that availability of using your resources on the cloud environment. Okay. And of course, things like security, the cooling systems, and many other things that might give a client a headache, it's on the provider. So we're offering something called platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. So we enable our clients to push their resources on the cloud and maintain some of their datas on the on-prem solutions. That's basically the difference between having an on-prem solution and having something on.
What are some of the challenges that cloud providers in Africa face?
Okay. Some of the challenges that the cloud providers face, for starters, is first of all awareness. Okay, and just to enable clients to understand that there is a provider here locally in Kenya meeting these compliances and regulatory policies for individuals. So that's a challenge that, of course, we're trying to push to make sure that there is an awareness to each and every individual parts of the country. Another challenge that some of the cloud providers have is the DPA Act, just making sure that some of their data is here, like having that dedicated server, or collocating simply means taking one server from point A and bringing it to point B. Let me bring it home. Let's say Nairobi and Mombasa were two separate countries, okay? And the DPA Act says that data needs to be in Nairobi. So there's a provider in Mombasa. So collocating simply means taking that infrastructure and setting it up here in Nairobi so that clients can easily access the services and, of course, just follow all the procedures that maybe the government might need. Number two, some of the challenges that maybe the local provider have is, when it comes to pricing. Some pricing modules does not favor businesses. And like for us, we try and understand our client's need and try just to make sure that when it comes to cost effectiveness, we have resources and examples on how our client is able to have a pay as you go module, not something that has hidden costs to the infrastructure. So there are very many other challenges that we face, but the the three major ones, of course, is the compliance, making sure that you're compliant and certified. The awareness, clients need to know that hey, there's a local provider here in Kenya offering good services and with low prices, and of course the costings, the cost efficiency, how clients, of course, can use the full resources on a cloud environment, but paying as little as they can.
Who's the most important person that if they understand everything about cloud, you feel like they would help the cloud providers?
I know people say the CTOs or the chief technical officers or the cream de la cream. But in my opinion, in my 6 years of experience, I like to work with that IT person because at the end of the day, he's the one who's maybe his hands or her hands are dirty. They're the ones that get to the man. So once I have that individual and get to understand their needs and offer the services that they need, okay, I think, in my opinion, it's easy for them now to, of course, now talk to the the CTO and tell them, you know what, I've reviewed these resources. They've given me a testing period. This is how much we are saving. This is how much data we're going to push. This is how much is going to transform our business. And this is the way to go.
Okay, let's touch a little bit on the artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
What impact will artificial intelligence have on the future of cloud computing, and what impact does it have currently on
Okay.
cloud?
Yeah. So I'll also marry it with machine learning. So AI and ML, AI and of course machine learning are really transforming very many sectors in Kenya. For starters, let's say for the fintechs and the banking systems. Okay, AI, of course, comes to help such institutions when it comes to threat detection. Okay, so you find that your banking system, of course, have pushed an ML or an AI algorithms on our cloud platform and help them with threat detection and cybersecurity threats, just to make sure that their systems are not hit. When it comes, let's say, to healthcare. Healthcare industry or the healthcare systems, we have algorithms that helps clients with predictive analysis, okay, and diagnostic analysis. So this you find, of course, helps hospitals in making, of course, good and best decisions based, of course, on the machine learning, predictive analysis, and the AI models, just to help hospitals make, of course, good decisions or better decisions when it comes to giving a diagnosis or something. On the e-commerce platform, AI also changing and revolutionizing it for things like inventory management. Okay, of course, you can find algorithms that helps organization with inventory management, or for a classic example is Zuri on Safaricom. So there are very many ways on how Africa and organization can adapt to AI and machine learning, marrying it with a cloud provider. And it's so good that because our current systems, we offer GPU,
What is
graphical processing units that require, of course, large amount of space and just resources. So for the AI and ML, they require such. For example, if you want that much of algorithms, it's easy to use the GPUs. And of course, the organization that I'm working with offers such. And this is what I was talking about, awareness. You might find that people really don't know that our organization offers this and very many more to such organizations, to many organizations that might need an integration of their AI and ML on our platform.
This question that I'm going to ask you finally is
Yeah.
on opinion based. So
Yeah.
I want your full opinion on this. What's the future of cloud in Africa?
The future of cloud in Africa actually is growing in a fast rate, in a really, really fast rate. And the beauty about it is now we're having now more providers, so you find that a client has different options into choosing a cloud provider and a cloud platform at their ease. And the future is looking good. Of course, now that people are gearing towards artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the digital transformation that is happening on fintechs, and just the cloud adoption that is slowly being embraced even by the government. Okay, are key ingredients or key things to see or to predict that the future of cloud is going in an amazing way.
Amazing. Do you have any final words of advice for businesses and tech professionals looking to navigate the cloud landscape?
True. Yeah. One thing I can advise is when you're choosing a cloud provider, number one, choose a cloud provider, of course, that is locally available, someone that meets both global and local standards. Number two, look for a cloud provider, of course, that is, of course, maybe has latencies. Latencies is just the amount of time the data moves from point A to point B. And of course, you're looking for low latencies, promising you over low latency of less than 10 milliseconds, like for the organizations that I'm currently representing. Number three, of course, cost effectiveness. Look for a client that understands your needs and, of course, is able to, offer you much resources at a very lower rate. Number four, of course, last but not least, scalability. Enabling you to scale up or scale down your resources based on your need. One last point that I've forgotten, that's number five. It's the most important thing is the response time. You can have an amazing cloud provider, but getting them or having to just speak to a person, it's hectic. But on the partners that we are working with, we're offering you a response time of less than 15 minutes. And of course, we can just have this conversation. The way we're having this conversation, a client can reach out and reach out to this organization or this cloud provider and, explain what some of the challenges they have. So those 5 things are very key to consider and to make sure that a client gets to enjoy a cloud provider.
If someone wants to reach out to you, how should they find you?
I don't know if I'm.
You can look into this camera.
So should I give out my number? Should I read out my number?
Depends on who.
It's okay. It's okay.
Comfortability.
So, yeah. So we have various channels on how you can always reach me. Is it okay to mention the name of my company? Yes. So the name of my company is called Servercore. We are an international IT provider. We're offering infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. So if you go to our social media platforms, on our websites, on our LinkedIn pages, on our Instagram and our Facebook, you'll find Servercore. And you can just register there, okay? And us, as a business development manager and some of our sales teams will be able to respond to you and get in touch with you and just try to understand what you need. So those are the very many ways you can reach me or reach us as an organization.
That brings us to the end of our tech talk on the future of cloud computing. Thank you so much, Robin, for making time and sharing your insights on the future of cloud. And thank you so much to our listeners, our viewers, for giving us your time. We've come to the end of this amazing conversation. This is Cynthia Kimuma signing off for the Morning Express Show.